Well, welcome to the agenda on Dominion Brokers Group. This is the second day in the month of June 2025. I am Chike Ubogo. On the agenda this morning, we have several issues to delve with. Let's start with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has told Nigerians that the West is behind them and that the country is getting better. Well, in a speech to mark the end of his second year in office, he made this statement. Halfway through his term, Tinubu acknowledged the pain his reforms had unleashed, adding that he did not take the patience of Nigerians for granted. President Tinubu therefore appealed to Nigerians, saying that the economy is recovering and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Let's get to listen to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this morning. Well, he made this speech at the commissioning of the 30-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal road. Let's get to listen to him this morning.
And our Nigerian people are still going through difficult times. I take this opportunity to appeal to all Nigerians that the hope is here and is realizable. That the benefit will be you'll be part of the benefit. The economy is recovering. There's light at the end of the tunnel now. Inflation is stepping down. The exchange rate is stabilized. The corruption and the exchange rate is eliminated. The corruption in fuel subsidy is limited to BRS minimum. It is your money. It is your opportunity. It is your children that must go through the higher education. We are paying for all of that. Look at renewable infrastructure going on in various teaching hospitals and thousands of health centers. It's all about you. It's all about the people. We are reducing the cost of manufactured drugs. We are manufacturing locally. We give all incentives for everyone to abide by the principle of Nigerian first. May God bless our country.
All right, that was a clip from Arise Television, where we got that clip from, just to show you what, or for you to listen to Mr. President's stand at the moment. Joining me this morning to discuss this is our in-house analyst and development researcher, John Izuchukwu. John, good morning. It's good to have you in the studio this lovely morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, one will be glad to hear Mr. President say the economy is recovering, and then many of these clogs in the wheel have been eliminated. For example, he said the corruption in the exchange rate has been eliminated, and however, Nigerians still exchange a dollar to a naira for as high as 1,600 plus at this time. I know he said so many things. You want to react to some of the things Mr. President said this morning?
Yes, at least for the first time, he's speaking in a way that inspires hope, because we must not always look at the negative side of government. It's inspiring hope.
Okay.
That the reforms, even though Nigerians are not abreast with what make for this reform, but we do hope that by the kind of statement he has made, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that these reforms are beginning to show indices that things are going to get better. But having said that, it doesn't mean that as we speak, that Nigerians are beginning to feel the impact of this reform. What I think it meant is that the potential for this reform to bring to Nigerians the benefit of democracy is huge. However, what is a concern for most Nigerians is how long are we supposed to wait for this reform to mature so that we can begin to benefit from the reform maximally. All
right, is this reform supposed to be a short-term results-oriented reform, or a medium-term or a long-term result-oriented reform?
It is the three. Okay. When you are, because nation building is a long project, you know, so based on the kind of problems we have had as a country, if you are going to deal with the issues, with the challenges, it has to be short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And based on what they've been telling us, for instance, the removal of subsidy, experts have explained that there's a lot of corruption that goes on within the cycle, you know, of the entire petroleum industry. And it happens to be that successive presidents now have been the ministers in charge of the petroleum industry, as it were. So if he is saying to us today the subsidy is gone and the corruptions have been eliminated, what we are yet to see is that fuel should be sufficient for Nigerian people to buy at a very reasonable rate. And when he's saying that the corruption in the exchange rate is removed, we have not really seen that. Because even if you say that people buy mop up dollars and take it to the bureau de change where they make more money from it, it is still on record today that such transaction is ongoing. Because
you also see that even the country is even dollarized at the moment.
That's what it
is. You go to parties, you go to functions, people spend dollars.
And that's what
it is. With reckless abandon.
Major projects are bidded for in dollars. So we're yet to see these policies begin to yield, you know, the result. And that's why we have to say that we do not need lip service at this time. Nigeria is at a crossroad. We need people that will be honest enough to look at the issues and deal with it, than to give us, yes, hope is what we live by. Because as a human being, challenges are bound to come to your ways, but we need to be hopeful. However, hope deferred, even the scriptures says, it maketh the heart sick. When hope is, you know, is elongated for a time that you cannot even give an estimated, you know, time frame to, you begin to get weary. So we hope that it will, you know, ensure that these policies, these reforms begin to bear fruit on time, because we will not continue to hope. You don't go to school and then tell the parents of you, tell the school, you know, where your children attend, and tell them, oh, we are hoping that we will pay. They won't get to hear that from you. So the government has to do something. But let's give it to him and hope that things are really going to get better as he has promised.
All right. We'll be moving on to the other discussion this morning. Well, the agenda has been set, let's give ourselves hope, and let's be hopeful, and be patient enough for the reforms of Mr. President to come to fruition. Well, a former Rivers State Governor and Minister of Works, Rotimi Amaechi, says he and other opposition politicians are as hungry as every Nigerian. They're using the word every. Well, urging the opposition to unite to seize power from President Bola Tinubu. Amaechi spoke at his birthday lecture in Abuja on Saturday. The lecture was attended by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, and other opposition politicians planning a coalition to challenge Mr. Tinubu in 2027 general elections. Well, the former Rivers State Governor recalled how, as student unionists, he and others, regardless of their regional and religious differences, rallied massive crowds in protests against former military ruler Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida and Muhammad Buhari. Let's get to listen to Rotimi Amaechi speak over the weekend on Saturday.
It doesn't matter whether all the people that served under me were from the north or south or east. What was important is how did you change this country? Growing up, people, you as young men, I will tell you what you didn't enjoy. Growing up, we had NANS meeting in Kano. We started the meeting 12 midnight, finished at 6 a.m. It's okay, sir, SSS does not arrest us. Each person go find your way back to BUK. We had it in a private house. I missed my way in Kano, but I don't know where is BUK. I only saw somebody, a man from Kano. Where is BUK? The person took me to Kano, BUK. If it's not, they will kidnap me. Look, a ordinary northerner who is a Muslim has no problem with the ordinary southerner who is Christian. It is when it comes to election, they will tell you, so let them show you in Islam, where it says, don't say with a Christian. They cannot show you. They will only do that and say, this man is a Muslim, vote for him. Now you have Muslim ticket. Let Muslim market come out now. It can't. We are all hungry. All of us are. If you're not hungry, I am. You may laugh. So for us, the opposition, if you want us to remove the man in power, we can remove him from this power. When we are students, we organized the Taisho Arena protest against Babangida. We organized protests against Buhari. And believe me, there was no north and south in the students. The protests that shut down ABU, University of Nigeria and Soka, University of Lagos and all that, the meeting took place in Kano. When we finished the meeting at night, everyone was told to go back to his school and mobilize school. Once the NAS president addressed a press conference, all of us were on the street. You will see a northerner, young, handsome northerner, with a young, handsome southerner, feeling free and eating the same kind of food. Today, we are poisoning the minds of our young men. Even them can't even liberate themselves. We were able to liberate ourselves. Whatever I am today in terms of radicalism is Dr. Chidi Amota. Because if you read sociology of literature, it's about Marxism. It's about socialism.
All right, Rotimi Amaechi there speaking. John Izuchukwu, the former governor of Rivers State, says he is hungry like every other Nigerian. Are you hungry?
Well, I think he may be hungry, but not for food.
Are you hungry?
I'm not hungry.
Okay.
He may be hungry for power.
Okay.
He wants to get back into power because it seems as if he's losing relevance. Okay. But again, of course, he's just been, I think he just
but let's look at
metaphorically.
The message. Let's look at the message this time around, and let's leave out the messenger for now.
Yes, he's speaking metaphorically.
Okay.
But you see, the truth is that there is hunger in the land, and Nigerians are hungry. But again, this is a coalition of people who want to take power. It's not as if they have the best interests of Nigerians at heart, because it is still the same politicians who are trying to change nomenclature. The same set of people with the same ideology. Nothing has changed, because I do not think that a chameleon will change overnight. So it's the same people, and nothing really has changed, with them. But again, it's important also that we take a few things he has said, and that one of it is the virile and strong student unionism, to tell you that when Nigerian young people wake up from the slumber and from ethnic and religious bigotry being peddled by Nigerian politicians and take the destiny of our country into their hands, the possibility of liberating Nigeria is there. Because, you see, every revolution today, anywhere in the world, in history, began with a disenchanted, disgruntled young people who do not believe that the status quo should remain. So because most of our old people are now saying, let's accept the status quo. But the young people are the ones who will take the bull by the horn and fight for the liberation of Nigeria.
Are the young people ready?
It's a point. So
do you see them being ready?
It's a call to that readiness. It's a call to, for us to wake up.
Well,
and then,
is Rotimi Amaechi in the position to make that call?
Yes, because he has benefited maximally from student unionism.
Okay.
Rotimi Amaechi is one of the luckiest Nigerians ever.
Okay.
He left school, became member of House of Assembly, became the Speaker, became governor 2 times, and became Minister of Transport for 8 years. I mean, he's one of the most blessed Nigerians. Nigeria has served him. But unfortunately, you cannot talk about how much you have done for Nigeria. Demanding that from Tinubu, from Mr. President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He himself was governor for 8 years. He was minister under Buhari, and we have not seen any landmark, project as Minister of Transport.
But he will tell you about the rail lines.
See, those were not his projects. Those projects were there.
But
before he came on board,
somebody had to complete
and
it.
even the one he did with, from Nigeria to Niger, what economic benefit is that to Nigeria?
Somebody had to start something, and then another person had to finish
what
it.
economic benefit is the rail line from Nigeria to Niger?
Well, bilateral
It's
trade,
nothing.
international trade.
Which bilateral? How many? You see, let's be factual.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. President, then His Excellency Muhammad Buhari must have done that to appease his cousins in Niger. But in the real sense, it has no benefit to Nigeria. If for anything at all, it might have even, it might have even provided a new route for insecurity.
For banditry.
Yeah, for banditry and all of that. But in actual sense, this time we need to harness every voices of reason across the country to mobilize. It may be difficult to remove Mr. President. That's my personal opinion, because you see, the man knows how to use the instruments of government. He is a master in that arrangement. But again, they need to conscientize Nigerians. They need to speak to the conscience of Nigerians to wake up, because we need an egalitarian society, and we cannot be docile all the time.
But John, there can never be an egalitarian society.
Chike, yes.
It's a society that's equal, that everything is equal,
See,
man equal.
When we talk about egalitarian society, we know that all animals, according to George Orwell, are equal. But some animals are more equal than the others. But what we meant, what is actually, meant is that the disparity level will not be as much as this.
Well, if you go by Karl Marx's doctrine, you find out that what you're trying to talk about, you see, when we have an egalitarian society from that point of view, then you're looking at socialism. And socialism is not even part of the world order at the moment.
Yes, even this capitalism that we are practicing, even though experts have said that what we have is not even capitalism in its entirety. But let's look at it that we are practicing capitalism. There is certain principles of liberalism that comes into it, because you see, you must create that room where the people at the lower cadre can still breathe.
So
because if you do not, these people can mobilize and destroy the pyramid.
So now the form of capitalism being practiced in Nigeria today has defied the laws of capitalism. Like you always say, the kind of democracy we practice in the country
it's
today
a unique variant.
Is a unique variance. And so the same thing with the type of capitalism we're practicing. A capitalism where you only have the upper class and the lower class. There's no middle class anymore. So that, you wouldn't call that full capitalism. That is a unique kind of capitalism in Nigeria. So that might really not be feasible, especially when you talk about an egalitarian society.
You see, yes, you are right, but you see, in the sense where in the sense which I use that word is that a society that still cares for the have-not, because you cannot want to be one Dangote and everybody under the rest of us are downtrodden. We will pull you down. That's what it is, because a time is going to come when people will run out of patience.
How would they care?
They will run out of the time.
How would they care for the have-nots when there is no middle class?
You see,
so they see
there was a society.
They see you on the basement and they are on the 48th floor.
So that kind of arrangement is not sustainable.
Right.
It's not sustainable. They know that if there's enough critical mass of Nigerians are conscientized, that arrangement will not be sustainable. So, and that's what we are saying. We want Nigeria to work. We want a country. You see, Chike, if you have gone out of this country before, you will know no place is as beautiful as this country. I mean, this country, you can drive by 12 a.m.
There are beautiful places.
Chike, I'm saying that, you see, I value my liberty.
Yeah,
I value my freedom. Yeah. This country.
You value your identity.
This country.
Yeah.
If an average Nigerian can make $1 million in a month, that's barely $1,000. Chike, most Nigerians won't leave Nigeria. That you have an income of $1 million, $1,000 every month. What are you going to do? You are just going for vacation. Nobody's going to live because
why can't they make that amount of money in a month?
A few persons are making it. But what I'm saying is, if we can create an economic structure where a lot of Nigerians are pulled out of poverty to that level. And you know the way we operate as Nigerians, once things are working for you, other people will be benefiting from it. That's how the Nigeria works.
Don't you think if that works, the rich won't breathe anymore?
It is a myopic kind of thinking.
Especially when you look at the structure.
It's too
the
parochial.
Economic structure we practice in Nigeria.
Yes, it's too parochial to think like that.
They feel that if they lift the poor out from poverty, that they won't breathe. You know, there's this competition, this class struggle, you know.
Chike, for instance now, if we do not deal with insecurity, if you are alive for the next 10, 20 years, the possibility that Nigeria may not exist to be there. So it is not to their own advantage. All that they are building can be ruined in one day. Have you read what happened in 1983 when people went on rampage? I grew up in Akure and I knew facilities, built big facilities that were burned down, and for many years they were never renovated. What that tells you is that you can destroy your labors for 50 years in one day, because people may come and say, we are tired of this, I want to fight it.
But the people feel they are being destroyed.
The time is ticking. And if we're not careful, it may come sooner than we expect. And so that's what we're saying. We need that system where everybody can be brought together, and then we can start growing up together.
All right. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused the current administration of deliberately using poverty as a political weapon, claiming that economic hardship is being manipulated to control and suppress the population. Atiku spoke on Saturday in Abuja during the 60th birthday lecture of former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi. And the theme of that lecture is weaponizing poverty in Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar here.
I want to amend a little bit of amendment and state organization of poverty. Why I say so, when I was growing up in the north, the most prosperous city or state was Kano State. The most prosperous. And incidentally, as soon as I finished my secondary school, my first location was Kano State. I never saw people sleeping outside. Then there were no villages of flyover. I never saw people sleeping outside or outside the shops in Kano State. Recently, people were all over state sleeping under the bridge, on the streets, who were driven out by poverty and insecurity. There is a state agency in Kano responsible for providing succor to such people. And they started doing their work and enlightening people and removing people from under the bridges and outside on the streets. What happened? They were called to Abuja and they were told to stop it. That is why I said I wanted to amend the topic of today to add state weaponization of poverty. This particular government is weaponizing poverty. You may call me a conspirator, you may call me anything, and that is why we are in this alliance, to make sure we don't allow them to continue weaponizing policy. Of course, one of our star conspirators is Governor Rotimi.
All right, that's the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, there, talking about this present administration weaponizing poverty. Well, John, you listen to him, and it's like the coalition is getting stronger by the day. When you hear the political juggernauts that are coming together to form that coalition, all in a bid to unseat the present president.
Yes. You see, we need to call a spade a spade. Atiku Abubakar didn't come out under Buhari to say that Buhari was weaponizing poverty, because 76% of Nigerians were thrown into multi-dimensional poverty under His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, under the former president.
He didn't come out to make any comment.
Because you want to ask again, what's excellent about the excellency?
You can't take away the fact that he was once Nigeria's number one citizen.
Yeah, former president.
It's still excellency.
How excellent?
Because you can't see him and address him as you must address him as he's an excellency. Whether we like it or not, we may not like his politics and his person. Personally, because I know he threw up nepotism to a point where it was a concern for Nigerian unity. But again, I think that the South need to put themselves together. This is my thinking. Does it make any sense that a Tinubu rules for 4 years and another Southerner rules for 4 years? I'm just thinking, because the North are up to something. And those who are forming this coalition need to also remember that you need to also put to account your regional interest and your personal interest. Because what's happening here is an alignment by the North to make a statement that without them, you can't be a president in Nigeria. So if the North supports you, because if this succeeds, they are going to make a statement in black and white that without us, nobody can be president. And if we allow that to happen, it will mean that we have enthroned them permanently. And you see, in democracy, we must be wary of certain precedents. So because if you set this as the precedents, it may continue. And the North has this history of always trying to advance their own cause above the cause of other Nigerians. And so we need to look at this before this coalition takes place, because even the people forming this coalition, Amechi was there. It was among those who formed the coalition to remove Jonathan, who is a Southerner. And now he's also walking toward the same path.
Are you seeing a flock of confused politicians?
Chike, they're not confused. They are playing a game. And they are the ones shouting, let us remove ethnicity and religion. But they're using the same tools now in this game.
So the confusion I mean is that these are people who are trying to play a game of gamble, trial and error. We have worked together to unseat Jonathan, and we brought in Tinubu. Let us work together to unseat Tinubu. We brought in Buhari. Let's work together to unseat Tinubu, and then we'll see the next person to unseat again. Because they keep on sitting, because it's about interest.
That's what it is. You see, that's what I'm saying. You see, if Nigerians allow them to succeed with this, they would have established a pattern, and they may continue to repeat it. Because yes, Mr. Tinubu may not have done excellently well, but this is 2 years, for crying out sake. Buhari was there 4 years. There was no coalition to remove him. Because when we think Nigeria, we must not forget that Nigeria is a complicated country, founded on falsehood. And so we cannot exonerate the fact that ethnicity and religion are major tools that are weaponized again and again, using different shade to weaponize it. And so when you see them talk about, when I was in the Union, there was no discrepancy between a Muslim and a Christian, an Igbo and a Fulani guy, that was then. They are the same people who have weaponized it. And now, I cannot say that I benefited anything from this government, but I'm of the opinion that we should not allow these trends to be established. If we do, we have given the North an advantage. They will always mobilize to remove a Southerner. And you may not even, what may happen eventually is that the North may rule even more than their own 8 years. Because what it will mean is that if they can have a little vote from the South, they can mobilize themselves and then at the end of the day, establish themselves permanently, which is what democracy abhors. So I think that whatever Nigerians are doing, we should not allow them to cow us. We should put on our thinking cap and look at it critically. Are these reforms on the long run going to bring fruits for our country? If it is, we should endure it. We have endured 2 years. Let's see what the 4 years will be, and then we not take a decision. But for them who are looking for how to get back to power and then build their own hegemony, continue to benefit from Nigeria, not them giving back to Nigeria, I don't think we should allow it.
All right, the former Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi Lamido, looked at it from the insecurity point of view. He was at that event. He lamented that Nigeria is currently engulfed in a serious insecurity crisis, with bandits residing in many communities. Sanusi stated that Nigerians are living alongside bandits and Boko Haram insurgents. He also attributed Nigeria's multidimensional poverty to the failure of its leaders. The former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria criticized the country's elites for being unaware of the extent of poverty afflicting Nigeria. Let's get to listen to the the Emir of Kano there and the former CBN governor.
Event and to have the opportunity to say a few words. Let me begin on a personal note by congratulating Governor Amaechi on achieving this milestone. He's a friend I've known from his days as Governor of Rivers. I would like to wish you happy celebrations and many, many more years of service to our country. Well, since the professor has decided to call me out, the reality about poverty in Nigeria is that many of the elite really do not even know what poverty is. A lot of the time we talk about these numbers. The example the professor gave was a very potent example. In all my life as an economist, as a banker, as a governor of the central bank, I looked at these numbers. X% of Nigerians live on less than $1 a day. X% of Nigerians in multidimensional poverty. And the numbers are bad, but you don't know how bad they are until you actually go and look into the eyes of poverty. The case of that lady was an eye-opener for me. I did not know poverty until I became an emir. When you actually go to a village, see the water they drink, see the house they live in. When you're told there's a primary school in a village and it is a 2-classroom school without a roof and without a teacher. When you see malnutrition and you see their children, how they look, then you understand what poverty is. And the reality is, even the poverty we see in the urban areas in Kano or Lagos is nothing It is nothing. You actually have to go where the majority of our people live to know what poverty is. So the first question I think we have to ask ourselves as leaders, not just the political leaders, all of us, is do we actually love the people, or do we just love ruling over them?
Emir Sanusi there. Well, his statements at the Rotimi Amaechi's birthday celebration, well, they are just a continuation of his long-standing concerns about the Nigerian state. He says, until you stare poverty in the face, you don't know what poverty means.
Well, that's hypocrisy, because himself, he knows that he has also contributed to the current challenges the country is facing. Because, yeah, hold on. You see, under Jonathan, he was busy raising false alarm of what was never happening, which was part of the propaganda that removed Jonathan out of office. So, you see, this elite, Nigerians need to wake up to know that they have an agenda. The moment one group is losing out, they are regrouping so they can remove the other group who is in power. So, but is poverty pervasive in Nigeria? It is. And it didn't just start today. Nigeria as a country is blessed, is rich, but Nigerians are poor. It's not a mantra that started today. It's been there even since 1960, since we got independence. So, but if you ask me, how do we deal with poverty? If we would deal with poverty, just like he has rightly said, we will need leaders who will not just be interested in ruling over the people, but will love the people. Because it makes no sense that you are driving, in the city of Abuja, and you see children who are out of school everywhere on the street. Not because they can't go to school, but because their parents can't even buy the exercise book, can't buy uniform, can't buy sandals for them. So, and as long as the people are uneducated, they will be a ready-made tool for the politician to use and for miscreants in the society to use. So, poverty is what we need to deal with if we really want to get Nigeria out of this state where we are. Because it's not today. Since I was a child, we heard, oh, the Nigerians live below $1. That was as at then when dollar was even 160, 200, not to talk of today. So it's a concern. But we must also acknowledge every little effort made towards building a nation. Those efforts may, albeit not be holistic, but we cannot also discredit the fact that little progress have been made. Because in all fairness, last year, the prices of goods and services were very high. It seems as if they are coming down gradually. That's not where we want it to. We don't want it to peg at this level. We want it to still go down a little more. But we must not also forget the fact that little progress has been made. So they should not, whip up sentiments. These issues they've been there. And we know that any serious government should be looking at how to deal with them.
All right, we'll go on this break. And when we come back, we'll be delving into something so disturbing. Stick around. Don't go away. Welcome back from that break. Let's move to some disturbing trend in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where children are currently being used as gangmen for waste trucks within the Ibadan metropolis. A disturbing sight that I just hope that the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Environment will urgently address. I saw these kids. Myself and my team, we have a team of concerned environmentalists in Oyo State who are in the media. I'm also part of them. We saw these kids. It was so disturbing. Let's get to watch a bit of what's been happening on the streets. This was captured yesterday. Let's see them. This is so worrisome, John, if you see the PSPs where these kids, it's so worrisome. You see the PSPs, that's where these kids are, you know, engaged in waste, picking up waste. They are gangmen. And then you can imagine the extent to which this has been happening. You know, we only saw this yesterday. What about other places? If you check out they are not even looking out for the safety of these kids at all. And then people will just pass through and see it as a normal thing and nothing is happening. Are you not worried?
Yeah, we should be worried. UNICEF statistics as at 2024 revealed that 20.3% or 20.6% of children in Oyo State are out of school. 20.6%. That's a UNICEF report for 2024. And it makes it the highest in the entire Southwest. So Oyo State had the highest number of out-of-school children in the entire Southwest. That's worrisome for a state that hosts a major university in Nigeria and several other universities and higher institutions of learning. I know that the governor has done considerably well in terms of education. They brought in new policies and all of that, which I've also looked at in the past. However, much has to be done to get most children out of the street. Now, child labor is a crime. Because what you are seeing there is child labor. That those young guys should be in school. They should be somewhere they are learning a trade or something, or technical school. So it's an appeal, because as long as we continue to leave these young minds to, growing up on the street, they will end up becoming imminent challenges for us in the future. And so if our state is, relatively peaceful today, what it means is that if we want this peace to continue and to be entrenched, issues like this need to be taken very seriously and to be addressed.
Well, if you look at the truck, where it's even more worrisome is that the truck, which was parked and these kids working as gangmen there, happened to have the insignia with the Ministry of Environment or your state, and then it's so worrisome. So it means these kids invariably should be working for that contractor there.
Yes, you see,
that's why I said contractor, not the state. Yes, the contractor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the contractor need to be brought. To be invited to.
Let's talk.
So that such a thing will stop. But again, we cannot also rely on an isolated case like this and then make a general statement.
Some people said these kids were just going to the PSP to scavenge for whatever they needed. But what we saw yesterday was not, we didn't see scavengers.
They were
actually working, picking up these dirt from the median and dumping into the PSP.
You also need to understand that with the current economic situation in the country,
the poverty level,
these young chaps may be doing that to support themselves and support their families. Because if you go to Bodija Market right now as I speak to you, you will see underage children helping people to move their loads from one place to the other. As I speak to you this morning. And most time when I go to the market, I feel I am in pain. Because, the way Nigerians operate, because you see people at that level, we just give them 100 naira, 200 naira. And it pains me because you ask yourself, how long will this person do this? What will become of this person tomorrow? So those are the issues. So we need a government, a state government that should be more proactive about rescuing these young people. Let me tell you what Alex Oti did in Abia State. He came on board, several children were out of school. He set up a task force. If they see your child outside the, during school hours on the street, the child will be arrested. You will come to get the child, then we do exchange the child and keep you in custody. Within few months, the street was empty. The state now have a good problem. The classes, the school facilities are now overcrowded. So they now have to build over 200 schools, new facilities to accommodate the overflow. That's a state where education is prioritized, because you need these young people to be productive, for your own state to be productive.
Even the legally employed workers, the PSPs, these guys, the gangmen, legally employed ones, you find out that they are also victims of lack of safety. You see them wearing nylons on their legs, wearing hats and not taken care of. And then the unavailability of their protective gears too. And then you ask again.
You see, Nigerians, we don't take safety for anything. That's the way we behave, because we leave everything to the hand of God, that God will protect us, and forgetting the fact that there are basic things that need to be put in place. So it's also a call out to them that, professionally, those are very delicate kind of profession, and unfortunately we do not take their safety very seriously. And as a state, Oyo State is a very big state, and they should show that example, that things should be done properly. Since they call Oyo State as the intellectual capital of Nigeria, Ibadan in particular, and so we should see that play out in our policies, in our administration, and all of that, particularly in the state, at the state level.
Mr. Commissioner, I use this opportunity to tell you to gather or call for a meeting of all contractors, waste management contractors in Oyo State. Have a talk with them. Let us know the modus operandi in recruiting these gang men, the people who help in waste collection. We need to know, the process of employing these people. And when you employ them, how are they being taken care of? Because tuberculosis is real. Cholera is real. These people are being exposed to many of these things. We need to look deeply and cure this menace that might be staring us in the face. I'm afraid this is where we draw the curtains on today's episode of The Agenda this morning. John Izuchukwu, thank you for being part of The Agenda this morning.
It's my pleasure, Chige.
All right. Thank you all for being there, being part of this discussion this morning. But before I go, remember, we all roll the dice, but only the Almighty gives us the double six. Let's keep this conversation going. Do follow us on all our social media platforms. On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok is at Dominion Broadcast. And on the app X is at Dominion Cast. My name is Chike Ubogu. Do have a great day and a positive month of June. Bye for now.